Hello everybody, welcome to the Daily Sip. My name is Oliver. My mission is to bring you closer to organic Japanese green tea, and the theme of today is there too much leaf? So what I want to do today is to brew 5 grams, which is the quantity of leaves which we normally suggest to brew your Japanese green tea, and today what we're gonna dive into is to have more than 10 grams of leaf and how this actually affects the taste. So it really depends what you're looking for. Optimal, as I said before, we suggest you always to use 5 grams. 5 grams is a good amount of green tea to brew with around 120 to 150 milliliters of water, which are around 4 to 6 ounces. Here I have the double or more than the double of the leaves, which I will brew with my green tea. Same amount of water, so also 120 to 150 milliliter and 4 to 6 ounces. And I want to really see what is the taste different, what does it change, and is it worth to really use a lot of leaves besides the 5 grams. So I brought my 2 cuses with me, 2 glasses as always, the famous Bodum glasses, which I will use for this session. Then I brewed water here to 65 degrees Celsius, which is around 155 Fahrenheit. So let's dive directly into this. Important, green tea, always use lower temperature water. This is very simple by bringing down the stringency with bringing out also more of the sweetness, and the reason lies behind that. Less of the catechins, so the bitter particles, are in your brew, and more of the theanine, which is the sweet amino acid in the tea leaves. Good. So then I would suggest we just go into the brewing of this tea. So a little bit of background to this tea. This is a tea which is coming from the region of Kagoshima. Kagoshima, the second largest region of green tea in Japan, after Shizuoka, which does around 40%, and some people say even Shizuoka does up to 50%. Then around the third, so around 30 to 33%, is done in Kagoshima. And then we have also other regions like Yame, which are also quite known, which are close to Fukuoka, which is also on the Kyushu Island, but in comparison to Kagoshima, a little bit more in the north of the island. Good. So then we're just gonna brew this for 2 minutes. Gyokuro always has to be done a little bit longer. The reason is that the leaves are very tightly folded, and then that they can unravel in the right manner. Just give these leaves 2 minutes. Normally when you use a Japanese green tea, use so a sencha, for example, or even a fukamushi sencha, which can be brewed with 45 seconds. But normal is 1 to 1.5 minutes. This is more or less the time you should leave your Japanese green tea in. And then the tea becomes very flavorful, and you can use them for 3 to 4 brewings. Otherwise, a little bit also on the tea. So this time it's Gyokuro which I'm using. Gyokuro is the best tea to make this test with, I believe, because it's the most flavorful and the strongest in the umami. The reason lies that the tea is shaded the longest. So here we talk about 21 days before harvest, the farmers begin to shade the tea, and then they just harvest the tea, they dry it, and beautifully roll it. As you could see, the needle form of this tea is quite impressive. The farmer of this tea, so an organic farmer called Mr. Sakamoto, he's doing, since 1985, he's doing Japanese green teas in an organic way. He decided himself, after having multiple cases of cancer also in his family, he believed to go with pesticides, and to work with pesticide is dangerous and also dangerous for your health. That's why also he decided to go into organic tea farming, and his Gyokuro is quite famous. And now we're gonna just dive into this tea. Mr. Sakamoto is also the president of the Japanese Tea Association, so the Organic Tea Association in the South. Good. So let's see. Good. Here with the more leaves, what we see is that the water has a little bit more of time to come out. Already when you see it, voila, just a comparison of the leaves. So here on this side here, 10 grams, so you can see how the tea slowly starts to unfold. It's not unfold completely, so we can brew it for 2 to 3 times easily. And here we have the 5 grams, so it fits very well. Here we feel that the Kyusu is quite full already with leaves, so already a first difference. Good. Let's see, did we use the same amount of water? A little bit more here, so just gonna fill up a little bit of water here. We really have the same circumstances. Good. Okay, so now already in color you can see there's quite a difference. Here we have kind of a dark golden color, and here this nearly turns into orangey. So you can see that how the difference of color between the two tea is. So here we already see the first signs of difference between these two. Here I believe and I expect a much more intense, much stronger and kind of more umami complex flavor profile. And I'm really curious to see if it's too much for me and what the taste difference finally is. But let's start with the typical, the normal, the 5 gram brew. Nice. There's a nice asparagus note, spinachy note, sweetness. I get a little bit of mango, a little bit of I get also a little bit of green apple, but the umami is quite strong already. So the umami flavor, this kind of savory taste note in the end, quite strong with this tea. Here we talk about kind of it's a kind of a nearly a little bit of a brothy flavor profile, but it's kind of a savory, sweet, very lingering flavor profile, which develops from the 5 grams, from a sweetness over into a slight savory note, but then strong flavor profile in taste of the savoriness. Now this tea is already pretty strong in terms of this special umami flavor profile, which is really the receptors of umami are on top of your tongue, and this is really also a taste sense which we in the West are not so much used to it. If you ever ate maybe a tomato and you have sometimes this a little bit sweet salty taste which you get from a tomato, this is actually the only or one of the only vegetable which plays a little bit with the umami receptors. And here we have this, it's kind of a balance between sweetness and savoriness, always jumping around. Quite interesting. And if you never had a gyokuro, definitely a world you can explore and see if it's something for you. Some people, they just adore it, they love it, and some people it's a little bit too strong and they like a little bit more the fresh and a little bit more of the vegetable flavor of the sencha. Now let's go to the 10 grams. Very intense. So this tea becomes very strong. So it has a little bit this beginning of fruitiness, but the umami flavor is coming in and kicking in very strong straight from the beginning. So I would say it really kind of intensifies this umami flavor profile. So it's condensating and concentrating more the theanine in the liquor, which then turns the liquor a little bit darker, and it shows really a strong note of savoriness. For me personally, it's too strong. It doesn't get bitter, it doesn't get bad or anything, but it's just very strong and directly from the beginning. Meanwhile, with this one here, when I take a sip, I have a little bit of a of a sweetness, a savoriness, a lightness, and then I have the umami coming in. With this one here, it's directly very strong with the umami flavor. It even gives it a little bit of bitterness to it. So kind of an astringent, kind of overwhelming taste note. So what it does is when you use more leaves, it definitely intensifies the special aspects of your tea, or the tea flavor of the tea, or the flavor of the tea you're using. Meaning that with this one here, we really have a nice balanced tea, and Gyokuro also goes strongly in the savoriness. So we have this savory, this umami flavor profile for which the Gyokuro is known for. When we go and we double the leaves, we just have a much stronger and really umami rich flavor profile. What I little bit get more is a little bit more complexity in the umami. So I get a little bit of sweet corn, then I really get nearly strong, nearly salty notes a little bit with it. And then there's a little bit of a savory flavor profile, but it's too strong, it's too overwhelming. But if you have a weak tea, for example, and with 5 grams, it doesn't show too much of its notes, it might be an idea that you a little bit go up, but with a Gyokuro, for example, 5 grams are more than enough. I know that in the tea shop in Kyoto, in Ippodo, they are always using 10 grams, but I remember as well that I drank their Gyokuro, and for me it was too strong. But I would suggest really 5 grams is nice because it smoothens out and it gives a kind of a broader taste spectrum. Meanwhile, when we go for the 10 grams, here we really have a strong umami bomb, I would say. And for me, this bomb is just a little bit too strong. But it doesn't turn the tea bad, it just exaggerates its strong taste notes. And here, 5 grams is more than enough. I think this is the end of this daily sip, so I will continue to do some brewings here. And if you ever have a question about tea, about how to use it, which teas also to buy and what actually you're looking for, please feel free to leave a comment, subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, whatever you like to do. And I guess I see you next time. Thanks a lot for watching. See you and bye bye.